Dalvin Cook ruled out for at least 1 week for the Minnesota Vikings. We see this every season. I mean, we have to expect Dalvin Cook is going to go out. Of course, they gave him the new contract last offseason, which was a bit of a reach. I mean, of course, Dalvin Cook is one of the best running backs in the league, so he well deserved of that contract so far. Right now, he is having his best season of his career. I mean, if you look at his stats right now, he leads the league in rushing yards, and that's after missing half of a game in the NFL. He still leads the league in rushing yards with 489 rushing yards in only 5 games and 64 receiving yards, 5.3 yards a carry, most in the NFL. Most of his career. I don't know if that's most in the NFL right now, but anyways, 97.8 yards per game. That is crazy. And 7 touchdowns in just 5 starts in the NFL. He is on the road to breaking some records. I mean, not getting first, not breaking AJ Peterson's record, so not even franchise records, but he is on the road to breaking some league records right now with those stats. Now, of course, Dalvin Cook, you have to expect that he is going to go out. It's great. I mean, it's great that we have good running backs to fill for his spot. We saw this last week. Dalvin Cook went out in the very first play of the third quarter. So Alexander Mattison started an entire half with the Minnesota Vikings. We did see some Mike Boone action, and you love to see Mike Boone out there. Alexander Mattison started an entire half with the Minnesota Vikings and looked phenomenal. Alexander Mattison looks great. So losing Dalvin Cook, although he is one of the best running backs in the league and it is a big blow to the team, is not going to be as serious as people think. Now, of course, the Vikings right now aren't competing for a playoff spot, even a playoff berth, even at all. Of course, they still can get it. I mean, you usually can kind of decide where teams are going to end up around the holiday season. You can usually see where teams are going to end up around that time. When I say holidays, I mean like Halloween. I'm counting that too. Anyways, we're not there yet. Vikings still can compete for a playoff berth. Of course, we do have a easier schedule going forward from now on, including this week that we will be previewing in this episode. Also, Minnesota Vikings losing Dalvin Cook is a huge blow to the team, but as we saw, Alexander Mattison is amazing. Alexander Mattison is phenomenal. This guy is... and Dalvin Cook right now leads the league in rushing yards by far. I mean, he's over 100 yards more than Josh Jacobs right now. And Josh Jacobs is looking really good. So, as we saw from the Minnesota Vikings, the entire 2019 season and so far in the 2020 season, take out the week against the Colts, Minnesota Vikings revolve around Dalvin Cook. Minnesota Vikings give Dalvin Cook over 20 carries a game, over 25 carries a game in some cases, and they pass the ball to him too. So they use Dalvin Cook in all ways, shapes, and form. Dalvin Cook is the biggest piece for the Minnesota Vikings offense this year, and of course, our offensive line have stepped up from years prior. Now, of course, we do have the worst guard in the league. We will be getting to that. Outside of that, the offensive line is not as bad as it usually is. We still have 2 great tight ends. We have CJ Ham. Dalvin Cook has a lot of help, and this is going to be very helpful for Alexander Mattison and Mike Boone in Week 6 that we will be watching and trying to see how both these running backs can really play. We might see some Amir Abdullah. We might see some CJ Ham giving carries. I don't expect much from both of those guys, but I'm excited to see Alexander Mattison and Mike Boone in at least 1 week. Dalvin Cook will probably be out for more than 1 week because I don't think that they're going to be rushing him to come back. Of course, losing Dalvin Cook is our best player on our offense, and our offense revolves around Dalvin Cook. When Dalvin Cook looks great, the entire offense looks great. The entire offense looks great when Dalvin Cook looks great. So, losing Cook is the biggest piece for our Minnesota Vikings offense, but at the same time, Alexander Mattison is great, and they're not going to be rushing to Dalvin Cook to come back. Of course, Vikings are probably not going to be competing for a playoff at this point, but Dalvin Cook going out is not as big of a blow as people think, and I think Alexander Mattison is going to look fine, so they don't need to rush Dalvin Cook back. Of course, if Dalvin Cook is healthy, they are going to play him more because he is Dalvin Cook. He is our best player on the Minnesota Vikings offense. He has been injured every season, and you hate to see it. I hate to see players with this much talent to go out with an injury as much as they are. Of course, there's Saquon Barkley out there. His career is getting ruined right now. Christian McCaffrey. These guys are going out with injuries all the time, and you hate to see it. I mean, Saquon Barkley is the best running back in the league right now. From what we've seen, I mean, we're judging off of 2 years ago. So I don't know if he is right now because of the injuries that he's been given. Of course, Dalvin Cook is probably the best running back in the league right now because of the other injuries that other running backs are facing. And injuries can really ruin careers, especially running backs. Running backs' injuries are really bad. Dalvin Cook is getting banged up all the time, and it's ruining his career. Of course, he's having a great career so far and is continuing to have an amazing career. It still is starting to ruin his career. And that's why giving him this new contract was I don't want to say it was a bad decision. Of course, he's lived up to his contract already. He is well deserved of his money. The thing is, if you're having a quarterback like Kirk Cousins sucking up all that cap and you give all this money to Dalvin Cook, you're going to lose so many pieces as to when Dalvin Cook, he's not a lock. You don't know he's going to be great. You don't know Dalvin Cook is going to be great because he does suffer with a lot of injuries, and there's a lot of red flags. I mean, these injuries are looking really bad. Going forward with Alexander Mattison, I don't think Alexander Mattison is a starting running back yet. Of course, last week, if you judge off of last week, he definitely is. If you judge off of last week, he definitely is. He started one half of the game and got over 100 was it 100 total yards? I think he got over 100 rushing yards. They did give him 25 carries in one half. They were running the ball all over the Seattle Seahawks, which is not what I expected to see. I did not expect this to happen at all. Of course, the Seattle Seahawks are not great against the pass, but when you run the ball over the Seahawks, I did not expect 25 carries in one half to go to Alexander Mattison. But still, they use Alexander Mattison in the pass game a lot too, and I love to see that. I think using running backs in the pass game is very huge for quarterbacks because, of course, if you are pressured on any downs, you can just do a check down pass to Dalvin Cook, check down pass to Alexander Mattison. They can give you like 5 yards maybe. It's great. You love to see it, and Alexander Mattison is a player that I think that the Vikings, I don't think will be a starter anytime soon. Of course, we do have Dalvin Cook, who is obviously our starter. But for Dalvin Cook to go out and have Alexander Mattison and Mike Boone out there to still be like pretty good is great. You love to see it. I mean, we've seen this all the time. There is a 1-2 punch Minnesota Vikings running offense. Minnesota Vikings run the ball more than they pass, and they run the ball throughout two amazing running backs. Both these running backs look really good right now. Alexander Mattison, judging off of last night, does look, or not last week, does look like a starting running back. Of course, I would disagree because I don't think he's ready for that role yet, but still, it's going to be interesting. I do think, Alexander Mattison did not get 25 carries. Alexander Mattison combined with Mike Boone got 25 carries. Mike Boone is our undrafted free agent, and I think 2016, amazing undrafted free agent. Amazing. I don't know why they're not using Mike Boone as a kick returner over Ameer Abdullah right now. Right now, KJ Osborne is injured. He was our rookie who is going to be our punt and kick returner. He is injured right now, so they are using Ameer Abdullah in the kick returning game. Ameer Abdullah has no place on the team. I'm sorry. Ameer Abdullah, he's not terrible, but he has no place on the team. I mean, you can use Mike Boone as a kick returner. Ameer Abdullah is not even a punt returner. We use Chad Beebe. You can use Mike Boone over Ameer Abdullah. Ameer Abdullah is just sucking up some cap space. I mean, it's only like, what, 1.4 million a year? Still, I don't think that it should give Ameer Abdullah another contract. He is a free agent in 2021, and they should just let him walk. I mean, we have 3 great running backs already. CJ Ham, I guess you can count him as a running back too. So we have 4 great running backs. I don't think CJ Ham would be a great, like, he's more of like, yeah, I don't think CJ Ham would be a great running back. You just use him as a blocking fullback and stuff. Anyways, I would think Ameer Abdullah would be better than him. I hope so. Anyways, when it comes to running, CJ Ham's the best fullback in the league. Anyways, Minnesota Vikings. This is going to be a big week for the Minnesota Vikings because this is going to put the ball in Kirk Cousins' hands. I mean, yeah, Alexander Madison's great. You can give the ball to Alexander Mattison to run all you want. Atlanta Falcons are not a team you give Alexander Mattison over 20 carries a game to. I don't think they're going to do that. Of course, that's what we've seen so far, and Kirk Cousins had not have a great year at all so far. This is looking like his worst season of his career, and Kirk Cousins not having a great year, but they have to put the ball in Kirk Cousins' hand. Atlanta Falcons is a team that you run all over against. You run all over the you pass all over against. You pass all over the Atlanta Falcons. You cannot give the ball to Dalvin Cook or to Alexander Mattison as much as you would probably want to. And without Alexander Mattison, can he start a full game in the NFL though? That's the thing. Like, of course, we see great runs from Alexander Mattison. He is a great backup running back. Dalvin Cook sits out for a snap. Put Alexander Mattison out there, gives you 20 yards. That's what he does. That's what he's great at. That's what we know he can do. Can he play 10 consecutive snaps? Can he play 10 consecutive snaps for the Minnesota Vikings? Yes, we saw it last week. But can he continue to do this going forward? Of course, we saw it last week because the Seattle Seahawks were not game planning against Alexander Mattison. When Dalvin Cook went out, they were game planning against the Kirk Cousins and passing game. They weren't game planning against Alexander Mattison. Now that his name is relatively known, can he play 10 consecutive snaps on a drive and look great? Look how he did last week. Can he? This is really going to test it, and it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know if he can because last year we did not see it. We didn't see it from Alexander Mattison. Mike Boone looked great against the LA Chargers last year, and I'm excited to see Mike Boone play. I think he got 2 rushing touchdowns and like over 100 yards against the LA Chargers. I love Mike Boone. He got a forced fumble this year too. Mike Boone has just been a solid piece for the Minnesota Vikings team that they're paying pennies for. He is a great value that they're barely paying any money for. He was an undrafted free agent in 2017, I think. I think it was 2017. I might be wrong about that, but he's probably not on his rookie contract anymore. He's probably on his second contract anyways. Dalvin Cook is a huge loss for the Minnesota Vikings team, but isn't going to have as much of an effect as people think. Of course, Alexander Mattison is a huge step down from Mike Boone. From Dalvin Cook. Mike Boone is a huge step down from Dalvin Cook also. To use both these two 1-2 punches, Alexander Mattison and Mike Boone over Dalvin Cook, can they fill in for him? I don't know. We haven't seen it so far. Of course, we did see it for one half of last game. Can they continue to do that against the Atlanta Falcons? Atlanta Falcons are probably not a better run-stopping team than the Seattle Seahawks, but I don't think that they're going to run the ball as much as they did against the Seattle Seahawks. I was very surprised to see that, and Atlanta Falcons, I just don't think you can do that against because Kirk Cousins is going to have a lot of times under center this week, and we don't even know if we're going to play the Falcons this week at this point. Falcons there was one player that tested positive from the COVID so far, and they canceled practices until Friday, so we don't even know if they're going to play that team this week, but we have to assume that they will. This might be our bye week for all that we know right now. Anyways, let me know what y'all think.